The great hall of the galactic Concordat echoed with laughter. Not the warm kind, but the cruel, mocking sort that made Dr. James Marshall's jaw clench. He stood before the assembled alien representatives, Earth's lead scientist and diplomat, watching them laugh at the presentation of humanity's latest space technology. First speaker Daxon, a towering figure with metallic skin that rippled like mercury, raised a hand to quiet the chamber. Dr. Marshall, he said, his universal translator doing little to hide the condescension in his voice, you show us ion engines and fusion drives as if they were achievements. My species mastered such primitive technology before your kind learned to make fire. More laughter rippled through the chamber. Representatives from over 30 advanced civilizations sat in their elevated pods, looking down at the human delegation. Some didn't even bother hiding their contempt, openly pointing at the technical specifications of Earth's most advanced ships. Commander Olivia Chen, Earth's military attaché, stepped forward, her dark uniform pristine, her posture rigid with barely contained anger. We come seeking peaceful exchange and cooperation, she said firmly. Earth has much to offer. Earth has nothing to offer, interrupted Krelver, the Arctarian ambassador, his crystalline form pulsing with amused light. Your fastest ships would take decades to reach even the nearest star system. Your weapons are little more than chemical explosives. You've barely touched the surface of quantum mechanics. James shared a careful look with Olivia. If only they knew about Project Eclipse, about what Dr. Rebecca Torres had discovered in her dark matter research facility beneath the Atacama Desert. But that wasn't for their ears. Not yet. The mockery continued as each alien representative took turns pointing out the flaws in human technology. They called Earth's ships metal coffins, their defense systems primitive barriers, their weapons children's toys. First speaker Daxon raised his hand again. The Concordat has reached a decision. Earth will be designated a Class 7 protectorate, for your own safety, of course. Your system will be quarantined until you reach an acceptable level of advancement, perhaps in a few thousand years. And if we refuse, Olivia asked, her voice steady. The chamber erupted in more laughter. Refuse? Daxon's metallic face shifted into what might have been a smile. My dear primitive, you don't have a choice. Even now, our containment fleet moves to surround your solar system. The barriers will be established within one standard rotation, for your protection naturally. As the human delegation was escorted out, James activated the quantum communicator hidden in his collar. Did you get all that, Control? Dr. Tor's voice came through clearly, thanks to the quantum entanglement technology they'd kept secret. Every word. They're so busy laughing they haven't even detected our quantum signals. Status of Project Eclipse. The containment fleet is coming. Timelines. The dark matter drive prototype exceeded all expectations in testing, Rebecca replied. The phase shift technology works. We can have the first ship ready in 3 months, the whole fleet in 6. James watched alien ships streak past the observation windows, their hulls gleaming with advanced technology. They're going to blockade Earth. We don't have 6 months. Then we'll do it in 4, Rebecca said firmly. Let them laugh. Let them think we're harmless primitives. They have no idea what dark matter can do when properly harnessed. No idea what humanity is capable of when pushed into a corner. Back on Earth, deep beneath the desert sands, Dr. Tor stood before a massive hangar. Around her, thousands of engineers and scientists worked on what looked like black ships that seemed to drink in the light. The dark matter drives pulsed with energy that defied conventional physics. These ships wouldn't just revolutionize space travel, they would rewrite the rules of warfare. Status report, she called out to her team leads. Dr. Marcus Wung looked up from his console, grinning. Phase shift generators are stable. When these bobbies power up, nothing will be able to touch them. No shield, no armor, no defense system will matter. Dr. Amara Patel, head of weapons development, added, dark matter torpedo tests are showing 100% shield penetration. Their fancy barriers might as well be tissue paper. Rebecca nodded, watching as construction drones swarmed over the growing fleet. In the center, the flagship neared completion, the UES Twilight. Its hull was unlike anything humanity had built before, covered in patterns that seemed to move on their own, designed to channel dark matter in ways that violated what the aliens thought was possible. They laugh at our ion engines, she murmured. Let's see them laugh when our ships phase right through their blockade. They mock our primitive weapons, wait until they face weapons that ignore the laws of conventional physics. Commander Chen's voice came through the quantum comm. The Concordat ships are moving into position. They're starting to establish the quarantine barrier. Rebecca smiled, but there was no humor in it. Perfect. Let them build their cage. Let them think they've contained us. In 4 months, humanity will show the galaxy exactly why they should have taken us seriously. And then, she looked at the growing fleet of dark matter ships, then we'll see who's laughing. The Atacama facility shook as another dark matter surge pulsed through the testing chamber. Dr. Rebecca Torres watched through quantum-reinforced glass as the experimental drive core stabilized, its obsidian surface rippling with patterns of deep purple energy. Behind her, holographic displays showed readings that would have made those laughing aliens choke on their mockery. Phase stability at 97%, Dr. Marcus Wung announced, his fingers dancing across floating control panels. Power output exceeding original estimates by 340%. They said we barely understood quantum mechanics, he laughed. We're rewriting physics itself. The test chamber's walls briefly flickered out of existence as the dark matter field expanded, then snapped back into reality. Dr. Amara Patel checked her readings with satisfaction. Complete phase shift achieved. Any conventional matter caught in that field would have been temporarily shifted into, well, somewhere else. Rebecca moved to the central platform where a scale model of their first warship hung in a gravitational suspension field. The UES Twilight's design violated everything the Concordat thought they knew about shipbuilding. Its hull wasn't just black, it seemed to bend space around it, making the eye slide off its surface. "Status report on the fleet," she asked, activating a larger hologram showing multiple construction bays. Colonel Michael Harrison, their military liaison, stepped forward. His cybernetic eye scanned the data streams. 5 ships at 80% completion, 7 more at 60%, weapons integration proceeding ahead of schedule. He paused, his organic eye narrowing. But we have a problem. The room tensed. Problems in their situation could be fatal. The Concordat's quarantine barrier had turned Earth's solar system into a prison, their ships patrolling with smug superiority. Our deep space probes detected increased activity at the barrier, Michael continued. They're strengthening it. Intelligence suggests they're not content just to contain us, they're preparing for a full invasion. Estimate 6 weeks until they make their move. Rebecca's hand clenched. 6 weeks, we need at least 8 for full fleet deployment. Then we deploy what we have, came a new voice. Commander Chen strode into the facility, her uniform now bearing the new insignia of the Dark Matter Fleet. The Twilight is nearly ready. Even one ship with this technology could change everything. Dr. Wung pulled up new simulations. The dark matter drive doesn't just let us phase through solid matter, it lets us ignore their laws of physics entirely. Their faster-than-light restrictions, meaningless, their unbreakable shields will pass right through them. "Show me the weapons test," Commander Chen ordered. Amara activated footage from their latest trials. A conventional warship, one of Earth's oldest, hung in space. As they watched, a small dark matter torpedo phased through its shields and hull like they didn't exist. Instead of exploding, it created a sphere of pure void, erasing a perfect chunk of the ship from existence. "By the time they realize what's happening," Amara said with grim satisfaction, "it'll be too late. No warnings, no alarms, just deletion." The facility's quantum communicator crackled. Dr. Marshall's voice came through, tense but controlled. "Update from Geneva, the Concordat's making another announcement. His voice hardened, they're auctioning off Earth's resources, selling mining rights to our system while we're still in it." Rage rippled through the room. These advanced civilizations weren't just containing humanity. They were preparing to strip Earth bare, treating humans like animals to be moved aside. Rebecca looked at her team, saw the same cold determination in their eyes. "Initial fleet deployment in 3 weeks, she declared. "We'll take the Twilight out first, test their defenses. They think they've caged us. We'll show them what humanity does to those who try to cage us." The next weeks were a blur of activity. The Twilight's dark matter core was installed, its weapons systems calibrated. Crew training pushed the boundaries of what they thought possible. The ship didn't just fly, it slipped between the layers of reality itself. In his lab, Dr. Wung perfected the phase shift calculations. "The beautiful part," he told Rebecca during one late-night session, "their sensors can't detect us. To them, we'll look like simple radiation patterns, background noise, until we want them to see us." Amara's weapons team worked without rest, perfecting the dark matter torpedoes. "Each one carries a quantum lock targeting system," she explained during the final briefing. Once locked, no amount of evasive maneuvers will help them. You can't dodge something that exists partially outside normal spacetime. The day before the planned deployment, Commander Chen gathered the Twilight's crew. They laughed at us, she said, her voice carrying through the ship's quantum-enhanced communications. Called us primitives, said we'd need thousands of years to reach their level. Tomorrow we show them humanity's greatest strength, our ability to turn their arrogance into their downfall. Rebecca stood on the Twilight's bridge, watching the final systems come online. The dark matter core hummed with power that made reality itself shiver. Through the view screens, she could see the Concordat's barrier glowing smugly in the distance, their patrol ships moving with casual confidence. Let them laugh while they can, she murmured, running her hand along a console that pulsed with impossible energy. The next sound they make will be very different. First Speaker Daxon stood on his command ship's observation deck, watching Earth through the quarantine barrier. Begin the invasion sequence, he ordered, his metallic skin gleaming with satisfaction. It's time to show these primitives their proper place in the galaxy. The Concordat's invasion fleet moved into position, 300 ships strong, their weapons charged, their crews confident. They had done this dozens of times before. Primitive civilizations always fell the same way, swift, brutal, and completely. On the bridge of the UES Twilight, Commander Chen watched the alien fleet's approach. The dark matter core pulsed beneath her feet, reality itself bending around the ship. All stations report. Weapons hot, Lieutenant Amara Patel responded from tactical. Dark matter torpedoes armed and ready. Phase drive at full power, Dr. Wang confirmed from engineering. We can shift at your command. Dr. Torres stood by the quantum communications array, monitoring the rest of their fleet hidden in Earth's shadow. 5 ships ready to change everything. Remember, she said, they can't detect us until we want them to. Their sensors will slide right off our hulls. The invasion fleet reached their attack positions. First Speaker Daxon's voice boomed across all frequencies. People of Earth, your quarantine period has ended. Prepare for immediate. Now, Commander Chen ordered. The Twilight shifted. One moment it was hidden in Earth's shadow, the next it simply appeared directly in front of Daxon's flagship. But this wasn't like any ship the Concordat had ever seen. It seemed to drink in light, its hull rippling with dark energy patterns that hurt to look at. What is that? Daxon demanded, his metallic form rippling with confusion. Scan it. Impossible, his sensor officer reported. Our scans, they pass right through it as if it's not fully there. Commander Chen's voice cut across all channels. You laughed at our primitive technology, called us children playing with toys, now see what the children have built. The Twilight accelerated, straight toward the flagship's supposedly impenetrable shields. The Concordat crew watched in horror as the Earthship passed through their barriers like they didn't exist. Fire, Daxon screamed. Energy weapons lashed out from dozens of ships. Each beam passed harmlessly through the Twilight, which continued its impossible advance. Phase shift holding steady, Dr. Wang reported calmly. Their weapons might as well be hitting empty space. Target locked, Amara announced, firing dark matter torpedo. A single projectile launched from the Twilight. It looked like a drop of liquid night, its surface crawling with quantum patterns. The Concordat flagship's point defense systems tried to track it and failed. Their shields, the most advanced in known space, might as well have been missed. The torpedo passed through the outer hull, then the inner barriers, phasing through every defense. It detonated inside the ship's power core. There was no explosion. Instead, a perfect sphere of the flagship simply ceased to exist, leaving a clean hole through which stars could be seen. Panic erupted across the Concordat fleet. Impossible, Daxon's voice shook as he transmitted from an escape pod. Their technology, they couldn't, they were primitives. Signal the rest of our fleet, Commander Chen ordered with grim satisfaction. 4 more ships emerged from Earth's shadow, their dark matter drives humming with power that defied physics. They moved like ghost ships through the invasion fleet, passing through solid matter at will, their weapons erasing chunks of reality from target vessels. This is Earth's response to your mockery, Chen broadcast. You thought us weak, primitive, laughed at our technology, but while you were laughing, we mastered forces you never thought to explore. The Concordat fleet tried to retreat, but found their engines wouldn't engage. Dark matter fields had surrounded them, disrupting their drive systems. Ship after ship went dark as precise strikes disabled their power cores. Dr. Torres watched from the Twilight's bridge as the mighty invasion fleet fell to just 5 Earth ships. "Send the message," she ordered. "The one we prepared for the entire galaxy." The quantum transmission went out, broadcasting on all frequencies, bypassing every attempt to block it. On thousands of worlds, aliens watched in shock as the primitive humans systematically dismantled one of the most powerful fleets in known space. "Let this serve as both demonstration and warning," Commander Chen's voice echoed across the stars. "Earth is not your playground. We are not your resources to auction. We are not primitives to be caged. The dark matter fleet is now humanity's shield and sword." The remaining Concordat ships hung powerless in space, their crews watching in stunned silence as the Earth ships moved among them like vengeful spirits. First Speaker Daxon's escape pod was tractored into the Twilight's hold. "Take him to the brig," Chen ordered. "Make sure he has a good view of Earth. He'll be our guest while we negotiate humanity's new status in the galaxy." Dr. Wang checked his readings with satisfaction. "Dark matter core still at 90% power. We could do this all day." "We just rewrote the balance of power in the galaxy," Amara added, watching the disabled alien ships on her tactical display. "Not bad for primitives with chemical explosives." Rebecca Torres smiled as reports came in from across the solar system. The quarantine barrier was falling, its generators disabled by precise dark matter strikes. Earth was free, and more than that, Earth was now feared. "They're not laughing anymore," she said quietly, watching the stunned faces of alien leaders receiving their transmission. "Now they know never underestimate humanity's capacity for innovation, especially when you back us into a corner." The Galactic Concordat's emergency session was nothing like the mockery-filled meeting of months before. Gone was the laughter, replaced by tense silence as representatives watched footage of their invincible invasion fleet being systematically dismantled by Earth's dark matter ships. "They pass through our strongest shields like vapor," a Cranaxian admiral reported, his crystalline form clouded with fear. "Standard weapons are useless. It's as if they exist in a different layer of reality." The chamber erupted in panicked discussions. These weren't the confident sneers of superior beings anymore. This was the chaos of a galaxy realizing its power structure had been upended overnight. On the UES Twilight, Commander Chen watched the proceedings through their quantum feed, a satisfied smile playing at her lips. Beside her, Dr. Torres analyzed readings from their latest operations. In the 2 weeks since their reveal, Earth's dark matter fleet had systematically dismantled every quarantine barrier in the solar system. Another diplomatic request just came in, Lieutenant Victor Rodriguez reported from communications. "The Arcturian Empire wants to negotiate mutual security arrangements. That makes 17 major powers in the last 3 days. Amazing how quickly their tune changes when they realize their shields are worthless," Amara remarked, running diagnostics on her weapon systems. The dark matter torpedoes had performed beyond expectations, each strike precise and unstoppable. The ship's quantum sensors pinged. Dr. Wang looked up from his station. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL at the system's edge, signatures match the Centaurian technocracy. Chen straightened. The Centaurians had been among the loudest in mocking Earth's primitive technology. "Show me." The view screen activated, revealing a fleet of sleek vessels covered in supposedly advanced energy matrices. But unlike before, they kept their distance, weapons powered down. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," Victor reported. "Text only there, apologizing, requesting permission to approach and open diplomatic relations." "Permission denied," Chen replied firmly. "Tell them we'll meet them at a location of our choosing. They mocked us as primitives, let them wait while their betters consider their request." In the brig, First Speaker Daxon watched Earth through his cell's window, his metallic skin dulled with anxiety. Dr. Torres paid him a visit, carrying holographic displays of their latest dark matter research. "Impossible," he whispered, looking at the equations. "Your kind shouldn't have been able to grasp these concepts for thousands of years." "Here's what you failed to understand," Rebecca said, deactivating the displays. "Humanity's greatest strength isn't our current technology level. It's our ability to take a concept from theoretical to practical in record time when pushed. You gave us that push." The Twilight's success had spurred even greater advances. Dr. Wang's team had refined the phase shift technology to allow selective materialization. They could now phase individual sections of the ship, making them even harder to predict in combat. Amara's weapons division had developed what they called reality anchors, dark matter fields that could force phased objects back into normal space. Any alien power thinking of stealing their technology would find their ships trapped and vulnerable. The quantum communicator activated. Dr. Marshall's face appeared looking pleased. The Concordat's council just voted. They're dissolving the quarantine protocols for all developing species. No more containment barriers, no more resource auctions. How generous of them, Chen replied dryly, now that they know those barriers are useless against us. There's more, James continued. We're getting reports of rebellions in several systems. Other species they'd classified as primitive are rising up, the Concordat's losing control of its empire. Rebecca wasn't surprised. Their demonstration had shown the galaxy that technological advancement couldn't be measured by arbitrary standards. Innovation came in many forms, and sometimes the most dangerous advances came from those you dismissed as primitive. The Twilight sensors detected more activity. This time, it was a small ship from one of those primitive worlds broadcasting a request for assistance. They wanted to learn to advance on their own terms, free from the Concordat's oppressive protection. Commander Chen looked at her crew. They'd started this to defend Earth, but their actions had sparked something larger. A revolution against the arrogance of the self-proclaimed advanced species. Send them coordinates for a meeting, she ordered. It's time to show the galaxy a different way. No more mockery, no more artificial barriers to advancement. Dr. Wang checked the dark matter core's readings. We could share some of our basic research, nothing critical but enough to help them defend themselves. And if the Concordat objects, Amara asked, though her smile suggested she knew the answer. Chen's expression hardened. Then we'll remind them again why they stopped laughing at Earth. Our dark matter fleet doesn't just make us untouchable, it makes us the defenders of every species they tried to keep down. The Twilight moved through space like a ghost, its dark matter drive humming with power that still defied conventional physics. Behind them, Earth shone bright and free. Before them stretched a galaxy learning a harsh lesson about underestimating primitive species. Send a message to the fleet, Chen ordered. We're expanding our patrol range. Any world marked for containment is now under Earth's protection. Let's see how the mighty Concordat deals with dozens of worlds following our example. Rebecca watched their sensor displays light up with responses from the other dark matter ships. From being laughed at as primitives to becoming the galaxy's greatest deterrent against oppression, it was a transformation that would echo through history. They're not laughing anymore, she said quietly. Now they're learning what we've always known. True advancement comes from innovation, determination, and the courage to defy those who would hold you back. 6 months after Earth's dark matter fleet changed the galaxy forever, the UES Twilight hovered near the ruins of the last Concordat containment barrier. Commander Chen stood on the bridge, watching as the massive structure collapsed into itself, its energy fields dissipating into space. This was the 100th such barrier they'd dismantled, the final one that had imprisoned a so-called primitive species. Another liberation complete, Lieutenant Rodriguez announced from his communications station. The Nexari are sending their thanks. Their first independent starships launched this morning. Dr. Torres smiled at the news. The Nexari had been classified as pre-spaceflight primitives by the Concordat, despite having theoretical designs for advanced quantum drives. Like humanity, they just needed freedom from oppression to prove their worth. Incoming transmission, Victor reported suddenly. It's from every major power in the galaxy, joint broadcast. The main screen activated, showing a sight that would have been impossible 7 months ago. Representatives from 30 different species, including several former primitives, stood together in the newly formed Galactic Assembly. Their chamber was built on Earth, a fact that still made those who had once mocked humanity shift uncomfortably. The last barrier has fallen, announced High Chancellor Lyra, a Nexari who had gone from contained primitive to galactic leader. The age of technological suppression is over, and we have Earth to thank for it. Dr. Wang looked up from his engineering station, where he'd been perfecting the latest dark matter drive improvements. Hard to believe these are the same species that laughed at our ion engines. The changes across the galaxy had been dramatic and far-reaching. The Concordat had collapsed within weeks of Earth's demonstration, its power structure built on technological suppression falling apart once that suppression proved impossible to maintain. In its place, a new order had emerged, one based on innovation and cooperation rather than mockery and control. Multiple ships approaching, Amara reported from tactical. Dark matter signatures, it's the graduate fleet. Through the view screen, they watched as 12 ships approached, their hulls showing the same reality-bending patterns as Earth vessels. These were the first products of Earth's new dark matter academy, where representatives from formerly suppressed species learned to harness the technology that had changed everything. Remember when they said we'd need thousands of years to reach their level? Chen asked, pride evident in her voice. Now they're coming to us to learn. The quantum communicator activated, showing Dr. Marshall in the Academy's main hall on Earth. Behind him, aliens of all species studied dark matter physics alongside human scientists. The latest breakthrough in phase technology just passed testing, he reported. The students from the Centauri worlds helped solve the quantum stability issue we've been struggling with. Ironic, Rebecca mused. The same species that mocked us as primitives are now sending their brightest minds to learn from us. The twilight sensors detected more activity, ships emerging from dark matter phase jumps across the system. Not in aggression, but in celebration. Today marked the official formation of the new Galactic Alliance, with Earth holding a permanent seat on its ruling council. Status report from the Defense Fleet, Victor called out. Former Concordat worlds are still trying to replicate our dark matter technology. No success. That had been Dr. Wang's masterstroke, building quantum locks into the very fabric of their dark matter drives. Anyone trying to steal or copy the technology would find themselves dealing with ships that simply refused to phase. Earth shared its knowledge freely with allies, but those who had once oppressed others would have to prove themselves worthy first. Message from the Alliance Council, Victor continued. They're ready for the ceremony. Commander Chen nodded to her crew. The Twilight's dark matter drive hummed to life, reality bending around them as they prepared to phase jump to Earth. In orbit around their homeworld, hundreds of ships gathered, a mix of traditional designs and dark matter vessels, former oppressors and newly liberated species. 6 months ago they laughed at us, Chen said, watching the armada through the view screen. Called us primitives, tried to cage us. Now they come to us for protection, Amara finished. Funny how quickly attitudes change when you can ghost through their strongest defenses. The Twilight materialized in Earth orbit, taking its place at the head of the assembled fleet. On the surface below, in the new Galactic Assembly building, First Speaker Daxon, now stripped of his authority and serving as a junior diplomatic aide, watched with the rest of the galaxy as humanity formally took its place among the stars. Dark Matter Fleet report status, Chen called out. One by one, the responses came in from Earth's ghost ships scattered across the galaxy, each one protecting former primitive worlds as they developed on their own terms. Each one a reminder that technological advancement couldn't be measured by arbitrary standards.